Loser's Quest.
Welcome back to Loser's Quest. I'm your host, Big E, and I'm joined here today
By Rusty.
Hey! As you may know, our Geek Outs consist of answering a series of questions within a minute or less regarding a movie or show that we've watched. Today we'll be geeking out about Ridley Scott's 1985 movie Legend, starring Simple Jack, Traitorous Eve, and the Lord of Darkness, who recently found love on Match. My best regards go out to him and 2020. But in all seriousness, the movie stars Tom Cruise as Jack, Mia Sara as Lily, and Tim Curry as the Darkness. The plot of the movie revolves around Jack rescuing the unicorns from the darkness to prevent the world from falling into everlasting darkness. Hey, are we taking it away?
Yeah, that was pretty clean. And just in case, we'll do one later. Who the fuck knows? We don't know.
All right.
I just ruined it by saying that. But some quick little caveats. It's just two of us today. Dasa had some complications he had to attend to. This is private life. He couldn't make it, unfortunately. So with that out there, we won't be as precise with timing like we usually are, because it's just two of us and it's not episode by episode. It's a single movie. So we'll be more open-ended than our usual geek outs we've had recently. I just want to caveat that now.
That's good. Yeah, don't hold me to that 1 minute rule today, because we're gonna do a little more freestyle, and hopefully, with some 3 questions, we stay on track and give you a good episode. All right. So let's get into it. How did you feel about the story? I know we talked about it when we were suggesting the movie. I watched the trailer. You ended up watching it before me, and you said it wasn't the best, and it took you 2 sittings to get through the whole thing.
Yeah, this is we have a lot of close opinions on this one, but the only one we had was that I thought that the beginning kind of dragged on, and not enough happened. You actually like the beginning, which I'm sure you'll get into right now. But yeah, the story was quite simple, but I felt like it took a little too long to get into it. But that was my personal opinion, just because by the time the plot, I feel like, kicks off, I checked the timestamp and it happened 47 minutes. I don't know what happened for 47 minutes.
You've been zoned out.
I was like, what the fuck? But I was watching this through reputable sources on my phone, so I couldn't second screen since I was on my phone watching it. So I was paying attention. I just don't feel like that much happened, and I was genuinely surprised it happened 47 minutes. But I had to go to sleep.
I honestly thought you were doing something on your computer and you just had it up on the big screen. And
oh, no. I take my job very seriously, Eddie.
Hey, all right. Okay, good to hear. I actually paid $4 to view this.
Yes, did I?
Psych.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did like it was my day off. I was working basically the whole week. I only had 1 day off, so I finally got my day off. Sat down, started watching it, and it started off good. They introduced the Darkness, his henchman. I think it was Blix, and he's explaining why he wants to kill the unicorns, because he's vulnerable to light, and if light hits him, he dies. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, he wants to stay alive, and he also wants to plunge the world into darkness and control it. I'm cool with that. And then they followed real quickly. They introduced all the good characters. They show you Lily, who she is a princess, and she's definitely got that everything belongs to me vibe, and I'm going to do what I want, take what I want, and which gets her into trouble.
Well, she could do whatever she wants. She's fine. She's fine.
No!
Fuego!
She's a temptress, and I hated her from the start.
I love her.
Just, it's like, I like hanging out with you poor folks, because, me living in the castle is pretty lame. Y'all know how to do stuff down here.
Slaves are boring in the castle. Like hanging out with the peasants. This is where the real shit's out. It's like, hey, my type of girl coming to the barrio. Yeah. What's up? That's my dream, man. So shoot it down.
All right. Moving forward, there she goes, and she wants to, into the forest with Jack. He's introduced as, I don't know what he was. He was just either a caretaker of the forest, or
I was gonna ask
he was just a wild guy out there, and she kind of digged him because he was able to communicate with animals.
I don't want to jump ahead. Pre-discussion, I was gonna ask you, what the hell was Jack? Was he just a homeless guy in the forest?
He felt like Peter Pan to me.
He was dressed like Peter Pan,
right?
But I thought at first he was like a what guardian or something, but then they showed the actual what guardians were elves or something, and I was like, wait, is Jack just a homeless human? I have no idea.
Yeah, he's
He was
like
something.
He's
He
like
knew
the,
them.
Yeah, he's something. Like but to me, he just felt like the hippie of the world. Where like, yo, I'm just gonna kick it with the animals, and learn how to speak, bird and rabbit, and unicorn is just love, bro, just love. Yeah, so that whole part, like that whole first half of the movie was great. You get to know every character's ambitions, and it paints Lily very clearly as this person who is said to be innocent, but she causes a lot of harm. Like even something as simple as throwing a ring away and saying, "Yo, I'll marry anyone who finds this ring," and Jack plunges almost into his death. I'm like, this girl is wild. Why is she freaking out? She made him do it. Freaking toxica.
Okay. We have more differences than I thought with this movie. Lily did nothing wrong except maybe ignore Jack a little bit with touching the horses. And hey, I'm gonna clip this in way earlier, but I don't think we have to say the spoilers or whatever the fuck. Get over it.
Oh yeah,
This is just
yeah,
a 1985, just in
hello.
case. I'll split it in the beginning.
All right.
You guys are weird, but yeah, okay. The ring thing, it was kind of, she was kind of saying, hey, you know what? I don't gotta marry rich. I could decide who I marry, and I'm gonna make it I'm worthy of an accomplishment, and I'm gonna make it this where only you know where this ring is. She was giving my man the hookup, bro. That's the homie shit. That's the homegirl shit. I see you shining, girl.
Nah, she didn't even ask if this guy could swim. She probably was just like, he'll make it work.
Hey, man. It's not her fault that McDonald's says thirst is real 24/7. That's on him, You give her like, yo, girl, I don't swim. And then curve her. That's on him. I can't swim. I would have dived in. That's on me.
Oh, man.
That's on me.
Oh, God.
But yeah, the one thing really did annoy me is that they introduced the unicorns and how sacred they are. I might be skipping ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's
Just to
okay.
make the point.
We're right on track.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, yeah, they're majestic as fuck. Just look at them, acknowledge them. They're beautiful. Don't go up to them. But she's like, nah, I got a beautiful voice, which it was girl.
Oh, I'll get onto that later on.
You're not the best, but, it was And then, technically it wasn't her fault anything bad happened. It just happened to be that at the same time these goblins were shooting the unicorn. So it's just, bad fate.
Nah. She tempted fate. She went up there. She's like, it's like, I see a unicorn. I think it's mine's now. Like, she literally had that vibe.
She just wants to pet it.
Nah, this was not what is it? Those places where you go and pet the animals.
That she was like, yo, they're pure, I'm pure.
No,
I'm touching one. And I was like, get yours, girl. Do you?
She's such a sucia. I spotted it a mile away. I was like, no.
I don't know why you're hating on Lily. This is gonna be all about Lily.
No, Lily has to go.
Lily
has to go. Well, anyways, we're getting stuck on Lily.
I know.
yeah.
I didn't think we'd be so divided.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Lily fucked up. Unicorns, get eat. One of them gets eaten.
Yeah, because Lily shoots them with a bow. Oh wait, that was the goblins.
No.
I just want to make that very specific to our listeners.
but she enabled that shot. She didn't know what she was doing, but she shouldn't be doing it because Jack told her.
She didn't signal them, take the shot. Like, what is this? Let's just move on. Unicorn got killed.
Okay, unicorn got killed, and then you get the freaky guy coming in, Grump.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Well, first, let's just, I don't know if we're not going to review the whole movie, but I guess it's important that they took the unicorn's horn, the one they killed, because it's like a magic wand. And then after, we get homeboy Grump.
And...
What's it, Grump or Grump?
Grump.
Gump.
Oh, I put an R in there?
Yeah,
My bad.
that's Gump.
Oh, no. Damn. Okay.
That's
cool.
Gump.
Yeah, Gump was weird. I didn't like any... like, that whole scene felt really dragged on.
That was a long scene.
I feel like they did a really good job explaining... just visually that the unicorns were something sacred, shouldn't be messed with, when the whole world basically plunged into darkness and an ice age. I was like, that was enough for me. And I'm like, let's keep going. Let's go forward. I don't need any more explanation. It was done visually.
Amazing visual cue. Quick little shout out to Avatar, like when they take the fish out of the pond at the ending of season 1 and the world goes gray. Like, oh, okay, that's all we need to know. Someone fucked up by doing that. It was the wrong thing to do. This movie did the same thing, which came out first, so probably maybe inspired partially, but yeah, the world goes dark and we're like, oh yeah, killing a unicorn was bad. But then here comes Gump with the exposition, and I agree that it was too long. Too long.
Yeah, it was long. You go on like these small little side quests to get Jack some armor, a sword, and a shield that he doesn't really.
Pants.
Nope. Yeah, no pants. And he doesn't
hated
really
the look.
even need them throughout the whole movie. You know, it was really annoying to have to see that. Like the tower that they go to. I think it was the worst set ever. I didn't like any part of the tower except the corridor that Lily was running on later on in the movie. That seemed.
You don't like the little dungeon area?
Oh, the dungeon area was trash.
Yeah, but I just like that it was next to the little kitchen and the atmosphere built. It was decent.
The kitchen, I'll give it to you. I love the kitchen.
Okay, yeah.
Part, but just where they were being held and
the actual dungeon,
the corridors they were running through.
Yeah, okay,
they were whack.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree that the kitchen was a dope place to be.
Yeah, and yeah, I think this movie just for me, I feel like the beginning was nice setup. But then the second half is just zooming the same way I thought the beginning was too slow. I thought the second part was too quick. Where like, oh yeah, I guess Gump literally tells, hey, we need a chosen one to save the world from darkness. I guess you'll do. And I was like, oh shit, that's literally what happens. He gets a sword, he gets chainmail, he fights a sea monster. Real quick.
Just one thing, and that's it. He's trained. I did not believe that.
Yeah. Well, you know. He flirts with a monster and then kills it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what the hell? That's immediately when I was thinking,
to beat a predator.
Well, immediately I was like, yo, what's this thing rated? Because that's a very kiddish fight where he's like, no, you're beautiful. Look at yourself in the mirror before you kill me. And then but then he straight stabs it. And I was like, man, is this a kid's movie or not? I can't tell.
At that point, I knew it was a kid's movie. I was just, that literally what it showed me, like, oh, the best action scene was basically the unicorn getting shot with a poison dart and having its horn cut off. That was, even if they cut away and they didn't show you that violence, that was so believable to me. And it was very kid friendly in the way where they're not showing the violence on screen.
Fair enough. But yeah, to me, I think the movie, it just gets really quick, really fast.
Yeah.
And you never believe Jack could do whatever he's doing, or everything's just so incompetent. That's why they're getting away with this. We're not really following the story structure, but we'll just jump around because then it cuts to another fight. It's them fighting the kitchen guards.
Oh yeah,
and they defeat them by turning on steam or pouring water into a steam something.
It was like an explosion, and I guess the dust only affected the big butchers.
And then I was like, okay, this movie has no idea what it's doing. I have no idea what it's doing. And it was kind of interesting seeing the darkness where his story was like, oh, I have to now marry Lily to like get a queen of darkness or something.
No, to me, I really like that because it shows that, to me, I felt from the beginning of this movie that Lily, even though she was innocent, she was probably one of the bigger villains in this movie. Because towards the end, you know, like, sure, she's trying to fight for the side of good, but she's a temptress. They're showing that, oh, this woman is dangerous because even the Lord of Darkness would be seduced by her. And instead of killing the unicorn himself, he's like, I'll go ahead and do it. That'll turn me on.
Dog, she literally turns into a goth queen. What do you mean? Anyone be tempted by that? That ain't her fault. He put the drip on her. She didn't choose the drip. It was weird because that's the scene where she's just chilling and then a weird dark witch angel dances with her.
Yeah.
I hated that scene because it was a slow musical dancing scene, and then I don't know where she's just in goth.
Yeah.
This movie took some weird steps.
It was. To me, I just
remembered that, saying it out loud.
good way of showing how she was seduced by the darkness. You know, there was a chest of jewels, but eventually, like, this other figure came out, and I guess it was her subconscious. It's like, look, I could look badass here.
It was just kind of confusing.
It was. I'm trying to make sense of it, and I'm trying to come up with all these things to justify the choices of the director.
Look. I'm gonna make a decision to kind of speed run the rest of the story so we can talk about the thing. So then pretty much Jack gets a plot to destroy the darkness. He has to shine light on him, and they make a giant mirror reflecting panel thing, which trust me, I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of planning and precision, but they just do it randomly and okay, whatever. Then he fights the darkness. Darkness is way more swole than him with a bigger sword, but he gets the upper hand on him somehow. I don't even remember.
Dude,
Oh, he gets the unicorn horn from that puddle of water, which I thought was lava for a second.
yes, I was like, why
Until
did
he
his
reaches
hand
it.
didn't melt? I'm like, what is going on?
And then I was like, oh, I guess it's just a orange puddle. And then he shoots the darkness into space.
Yeah, like
Do you have insight on that?
I was so pissed off. It's like, okay, so they're getting the light from a different tunnel and shooting it far up onto this tower, and we don't even get a scope of how big this tower is when they're approaching it through the swamp. They just show the base of it. They didn't even pan up to show
The only
its
thing
height.
that shows maybe the height is when they activate the light panel reflection. It takes a while to get through the door before it pushes in.
Yeah.
Which it did take a while, but yeah, that's when I was confused, because then he's hold the darkness, which is pretty much the devil. It just looks like the devil.
But he had a father too, which was confusing.
Okay.
I was like, why is he saying, like, you're the ultimate darkness? Who is the bigger bad?
You are the darkness. And then when Tom Cruise is kicking his ass, he's like, and he's getting hit with the light. Tom Cruise hits him with a sword, and he's like, "Father, protect me." I'm like, "Yo, who are you guys sequel baiting?" I'm pretty sure it was a sequel bait. I'm sure.
Maybe.
And then, but then he swings at him with a sword, and he falls into space or goes up into space. I couldn't tell.
Yes, that was just weird.
It was trippy. This movie, I see what it was trying to do. I feel if we were younger, maybe if we were born like 8 years old in 1985 into the theaters, probably dig the shit out of it. Except for the no pants on the hero. That was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't like that at all.
I feel like this movie had the potential to be great, but I think it's one of those swing and a misses. Like, do you remember the 2000? I'll put it in the screen right now. 2011-ish hit film Aragon. It was about a boy and his dragon.
Oh no, I know the books. I had a friend who was really into the books.
Yeah. They were a book series, and they were touted as like after Lord of the Rings ended, they were like, oh, this is gonna be the next fantasy big multi-movie series. The movie wasn't horrible. It just was kind of forgettable.
Okay.
And I feel that's why I never heard of Legend until you brought it up, because you found it in your old workplace. And
I used to say it now. I don't work there.
Okay, when you worked at the library, you had access to the movie Legend, and I think you brought it up because I used to call everything a legend. Yes, ironically,
you were saying that ironically. Anytime we fuck up, you'd be like, Legend.
Like this legend. So then when you brought the movie, I had never heard of it, and I feel that's why this movie is just a fragment of its time. I'm sure people talked about it when it came out, but it was not bad enough that people could watch it and just make fun of it, like The Room. But it was not good enough that it's just, if it's on TV back in the day, you probably watch it, but now it's forgotten, kind of like Aragon.
Yeah. It definitely is a product of his time. You know, you have like the traditional sets. They had, I think it was puppets, right? Like,
actually, I wasn't sure, but I looked it up, and Rob Bottin, the guy who worked on The Thing, the original Thing movie, he did a lot of the creature works on this. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them were puppetry and some just practical makeup.
Yeah, the practical effects are so great. And that's what, you know, watching it as a modern audience, I was able to watch parts of it and be really engaged, because I was really pleased by
it. Wasn't bad. 1980 CG.
Yeah, it's like you could watch that and you're like, yo, this movie had so much potential to be a classic still, if only the story worked better.
Yeah, it's like you said, the writing wasn't the best, the dialogue wasn't the best, so visually it stands up to times, kind of like Jaws. Jaws, you know, it's a cyberconic shark, but it looks so good still that the movie still holds up, but it didn't have the impact. And the story's a little muddled, and you don't really care for Tom Cruise.
No, and that ending, like, it's like they had a good ending with like, okay, the guy's dead. Maybe show off both protagonists, walk off into the sunset together, or show them happily ever after.
Oh, that was so okay. Let's talk about that real quick, because he then what was her name? Lily is asleep, and Gump tells her she's cursed. There's only way to break the curse. And then Jack immediately says, "I'm gonna miss you guys." And Gump is like, "You better not forget us." And I'm like, "Wait. oh, so he's leaving to go live with her in the castle or something. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Happy ending. He jumps in the lake where she threw the river.
The
like
ring,
Smeagol
right.
and Gollum, yeah. And he gets it, kisses her. She wakes up. She's like, "Oh, cool, the ring." And then and then immediately after, she wakes up the next day. They're in the forest, and she's like, "All right, I'll see you later." And I'm like, "Wait, so homeboy's still stuck in the forest, and you're going back to the castle?" It's like, I thought you guys were getting married. He found the
Exactly.
ring.
I know. He did the challenge, and he did extra stuff. He saved the world from your mistake, Lily. And this is why I don't like her.
Not her mistake. She didn't hire the goblins or the darkness.
Hold on.
What the fuck
dial
is
it back.
happening?
We've already had
No.
a Lily rant earlier.
No.
Dial it back.
Okay, fine. But all that aside, then Gump and Una, who we didn't even talk about, she was a fairy, it was weird ass subplot. They're just waving goodbye with the two unicorns there, and I was like, wait, but they're still in the forest, and he's running into a different metal, but she went to the castle, and the darkness is in space, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, y'all did something wrong.
Something it's like at the end, it just messed up. I guess this is how I'd see it, like, because it felt like a very Disney movie. Like, it had those elements.
It was very magical.
Of a Disney movie, except for good music,
Yeah, I can't remember any music.
a good plot, and a happy ending.
Yeah,
Like, why you could have delivered all three, and it would have been great.
I think the biggest issue was Jack was very uninteresting and very confusing who he was. Very confusing what his goals were besides Lily.
Mm-hmm.
And very confusing as to what he does next.
Yeah.
And I don't know who I know Ridley Scott directed this, but I don't know what he told Tom Cruise to make some of these faces, man. Oh my god.
Yes. Yeah. He definitely gave Tropic Thunder Special Jack vibes.
Yeah, it's Simple Jack.
Oh, Simple Jack.
Oh, no, don't worry. I was just making
my
a joke.
bad.
It's Simple Jack. And then you just
Yeah.
picture Tom Cruise doing the... So, I think the biggest issue was... It might have not been Tom Cruise. It might have been whoever told Tom Cruise to act like Tarzan, because he will walk on all fours like a gorilla too.
Mm-hmm.
And he just looked confused half of the time. And he was so young, he didn't look heroic. He kind of looked like a seventh heaven douchebag.
Yeah, like pretty boy, but
was-
just like airhead. Like, is this guy on drugs?
Yeah, the vibe was so weird sometimes. Because last I do want to talk, everything else worked. Like the sets, half of the time they were pretty spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
And you felt like you were in an enchanted forest, or you felt like the grim darkness of the swamp, or them getting to the tower.
Yeah.
Almost everything worked, but the characters themselves, I don't think any of them were likable except Lily. To some.
I disagree. I hated her the most. I guess, okay, so it was Blunder, who I liked him. He was just a goofy, wannabe goblin, and I enjoyed his stage presence. And besides that, I did like the darkness. Because he looked phenomenal,
cool.
and he was trying to get his flirt on with Lily, and that I'm like, when did this movie turn into a comedy? So I really did dig him.
The only thing with the darkness is you call him the darkness, but then you make him look like the Red Devil.
Yeah,
It's just so jarring. I kept wanting to be like, oh, the devil, but
yeah.
like, no, he's the darkness.
He's the darkness. Yeah,
But nothing from seeing him is like, oh yeah, that's the darkness. He looked a bit like a worse version of Dave Grohl in the Tenacious D movie.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think character design, he looked amazing, but not for someone called the darkness.
Yeah, they should have just called him Satan or something, because they were also talking about
Or
God.
Demon Lord or something.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, like you're creating this world and there's the goblins, there's all these stuff, but you still have like the elves and like and Jack talk about a god at one point.
Yeah.
And that was just weird. I'm like, how does this fit?
Yeah, and that weird thing Lily dances with it looked like more than the darkness than the actual darkness.
Yeah.
And like, I can't get over this enough. Jack just sucked as a character. And at one point was like, hell yeah, kick their ass, Jack. I was just like, Tom Cruise, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, like we said, unfortunately, this movie probably would have been funner if we watched it together, but we had some work scheduling conflicts come up. I'm sure it's decent when you're watching it together, but
we
it
would have
is
been ripping it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but that would have made it more enjoyable, I feel. But if not, this movie, it does feel like a product of its time, and it's locked away in that time. It didn't come up like Jaws, where you can
Yeah.
still watch it and be like, oh, this shit kind of still slaps. It's not like Super Troopers.
Mm-mm.
We're like, hey, this is still
Oh,
kind of
God,
funny and cool.
Super Troopers. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is like, oh yeah, this is 1985,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you could stay there.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. Definitely. If you like, Disney movies, you could give it a shot just to see how a good live action set of what those movies do
Could make a movie bearable.
could make it bearable. Like the forest reminded me of like, okay, I think it's Snow White, very watercolory, very vibrant.
Yeah, yeah.
Even some of the Cinderella forest scenes too, like when you get into different parts of the forest when she's singing to, I forget the prince's name in that movie, to that guy, it's very great. And then you get into like the darker parts, so it's like Malevolent's castle. Instead of green fire, it's red. So it has all that visual stuff going for it. So if you watch it, if you want to give it a chance to watch it, like keep that in mind and just look for those things, and you'll be very pleased with it aesthetically.
Yeah, or if you really want to just see a 1980 fantasy movie, I can't think of many more. For what it is, fantasy. Doesn't give you the best heroics, but the goblins are fun.
Oh yeah, the goblins look menacing.
The Hell Kitchen cooks look also very interesting.
Mhm.
Like I'm saying, all this needed was a better elf, like a cooler looking elf, cooler looking hero, and the movie would be somewhat better.
Yeah.
Because like I keep saying, it's not bad. It's just very locked to the time frame where it came out.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it's very forgettable. There's not one line that I could remember these characters saying that was so impactful that I want to say it over and over again.
Yeah, and there's not many scenes where I'm like, oh, you know what? I could at least clip this scene, and it was very interesting. Like, they were visually pleasing, but nothing worth revisiting. Not bad, but also, like we keep saying, not worthy of like, oh yeah, I gotta show this to my friend.
Yeah.
It's just there. It's like, if we're ever bored enough, hey, you guys want to see Tom Cruise wear like chainmail, no pants? Like, if that scenario never comes up, I don't see
Before
another
he
reason.
became Mission Impossible.
Yeah, exactly. Besides that reason, I just don't see this movie ever coming back. And you know what? Like I said, for its time, I'm sure it was great, but not every movie is, timeless.
Yeah. I was scrolling through Reddit because I was trying to summarize it myself, and I'm like, you know what? I could put some flavor onto this. And I came up into a post where a guy was saying, look, I'm 30 years old. I don't know if it's too late for me to get into this movie. It's like I hear a lot of great things about it. So I don't know how much of that is because the movie's good or how much is it because it's nostalgia. And we're here to tell you it's nostalgia.
Yeah. I concur. I was thinking, we're getting close to ending this. We don't rank these, right? We just say recommend or not.
It's I guess I get my recommendation. Watch it if you want to see like good visual live action sets for something that looks like a Disney movie. That's my recommendation. If you want to see sets that look great, watch it.
Yeah, like yeah. If you're into what's that thing called? Like practical effects. It's a good study for it, I'm sure. Any other reason, there's so much other movies out there. This is a skip unless you're really into fantasy and you've drained the well already. Watch it. It's very cheap to rent. If not, you have no reason to touch this movie. It's fun if you're ever that bored and you're like, yo, I just want to watch some old goofy shit to see what they did back then. This will be the top of that list. But if you're never revisiting a list, you're fine. You won't regret it. You won't have the greatest time, but watch it with a friend. Anything's fun, but you could skip this one.
Yeah.
End of the day.
All right. So that was our Geek Outs for 1985's Legend.
Yeah.
All right. This is Loser's Quest signing off.
Peace.